Welcome to the murder house. The structure that you see here is a monastery that was created by Professor Casey for our guild in the game, The Elder Scrolls Online. So this is the venue of a murder mystery that we ran about a couple of weeks ago. Professor wrote the story and the script, but I'd also like to give a shout out to other guildies. Well, first of all, the whole guild donated a ton of materials and money to help make this possible. But special shout out goes to Britt, the owner of the property, who, aside from giving us the freedom to build this beautiful structure in her backyard, she also helped us run the event. And then there's Dross, who I like to call the architect of mayhem and murder proxy extraordinaire. So he played the role. Well, he helped. First of all, he helped design the traps, or some of the traps, inside the house, and then he also played the role of the murderer on the night of the murder mystery. Um, and then, of course, finally there's Polar Droog, our scapegoat and murderer in absentia. So Polar was supposed to play the role of the murderer, but due to unfortunate circumstances, he was not able to do that, but we blamed him anyway. So now let me walk you through the house and the clues that were laid out for players to find. Okay, so the first clue is on the base of this statue here. It's a statue of an Aelid, and there's a note pinned to the wall on here. So all the clues appear as a written note, and when the players find something like this, they will call one of them organizers, which we have called the Gray Spirits, and the Gray Spirit will read the clue to them. So this clue reads, amongst the beautiful foliage and beneath an ancient statue of an Aelid priest, there is a plaque that reads, this temple of peace and learning was dedicated by the sage Chuzuro Gray. Chuzuro Gray. I can't quite pronounce that. The rogue's great discoveries are beyond measure. Yet this statue recovered from the site, called the Myriad Paths in Murkmire, commemorates just one of the great rogue's achievements. Thus this site is dedicated to the study of the artifacts recovered from the Myriad Paths and to the great sage and his ancestors. May he continue to be a guiding light of knowledge and hope to all the peoples of Tamriel. Apparently, Chushiro Gray's symbol must be a keyhole, since this is the last thing on the plaque. So this is just part of the complex story that will be revealed as the participants go about discovering these little clues. So on this statue over here, you will see that there is, let's take a closer look, you will see that there's another clue. Now this clue reads, an inscription on the base of this statue reads, dedicated to the memory of Amura Gray, the model of these statues, master of the art and the eight winds, and mother of this humble roe. May she ever provide guidance and serenity to those who look upon her as she does to this one. So apparently this is a statue that was created by or erected by Tsujiro Gray, and it's a statue of his mother. So another one of the keyhole symbols is here. And there is an odd scent here as well of jasmine and scuttle blooms. Wait, did that keyhole symbol just have a blue glow? So, as you can see, the color blue has been mentioned already a couple of times in the two clues that we got. And as you may deduce correctly, the color blue has a lot to do with the solution of this puzzle. So if the players choose to use, again, the aquamarine key, if they found it, the side panel opens to reveal that the plinth is hollow. Lying on a bier here, in repose, is a Khajiit female, nearly perfectly preserved and wearing a beautiful flowing blue gown. The gem is in the shape of a key. All right, my son, what is it this time? More woman problems? It's always been, she is sad now. How does this one make her happy? Well, Ro? Wait, you aren't my son. So apparently this is the spirit of Amura Gray. She is Chujiro's mother. He wanted someplace beautiful for her, and this is the real purpose of the temple he built. She knows that there is evil, an evil spirit from outside the world here, and will aid the player if asked by saying, I can protect you, but you must summon me to the right place. And how does the player do that? Color is the key, and the key is the color, is all she can say. All right, now we're getting somewhere. That's a good second clue. So now let's look for the other clues. Ready? This is the entrance. Flight of steps. You turn right and go into the library. So, library, lots of papers. There's got to be a clue in here somewhere, right? Yep, there's one right here on the table. Let's read this clue. Okay, I know, it's raining in here. You can ignore the drops, the raindrops that's falling all over this library. As you can see, there's a roof, but apparently the game doesn't know that. It's a bug, and Zos, you need to fix it, okay? Now, on to the clue. This desk is cluttered with papers and books. Several of the books are open to marked pages. Unfortunately, we don't have any open books here because we don't really have any open book furnishings in the game. But use your imagination. So if the player inspects the papers, so there's papers underneath the note there, as you can see. If they choose to inspect the papers, they will get this clue. Many of these include partial translations on a strange, large wood-bound book. The title is in characters that remain inscrutable as you stare at them, but a page of notes lies across the woody grain. Notable history, 1555 to present day. A finished letter is amongst the papers, and this is what the letter says. I do say you were quite correct in suggesting I take this post. For all his eccentricities, this Khajiit is a genius, and I have gleaned much from him in both languages and the arcane arts that I would never have discovered back in Alinor. Nevertheless, the work is quite challenging. Only the most obscure and bizarre texts have graced my workspace since coming here. I am amazed still. Where does the row find these things? So the letter talks about Lily Feather, how sweet she is, and blah blah blah. And apparently it's written by one of the apprentices here, Aldenon. This undelivered letter is several weeks old by its date. The desk has a very organized and terse notes and some damaged books missing their covers. The bindings of these appear to be falling apart, and there are tools here for gentle handling of the pages. Two books stand out due to the notes carefully pinned on them. One reads, A Clockwork, blue, green, is it a collar? And the other one reads, The Winter Cold Polar Ride. So these are all references and clues to the identity of the killer, actually, because the killer happens to be a player in the guild whose handle is Polar Droog. So, I don't think anyone during the course of the mystery ever got these references, and no one ever found out who the real killer was. But they did solve the mystery in the end. And that's another video that I will be creating after this walkthrough, so you can see how it actually went. So if you look around here, you will notice that there's a fish head sticking out of this wall. This is one of the objects that were hidden all around the property for a scavenger hunt, which was sort of in conjunction with, but separate from, the mystery itself. Okay, so one other feature that I wanted to show you was the trap that was laid out very carefully in this room. So if someone decided to sit on this chair and then subsequently stood up, you can see that they can't go towards the right here. They would be forced to go this way and boom, fall into a trap. So let me go into first person to show you what the trap looks like. It's a cage in the basement, and the only way to get out of this cage is to use the right arrow, the controls, to basically get outside to the front door. But because I have housing editor privileges, then all I have to do is I can free myself, basically. I can select this cage. Let me go into first person. I can select this cage, drop down, and put it right back. Okay, so as you can see, this is the basement, and we also built, or Professor also built, some secret passages here for basically for the killer to make his way around. So as you can see, there is a secret passage that leads up to the third floor, but the one that we want is the entrance back into the library. So a secret passage to the right of this bookcase here, and it takes you back right into the library. So there are a couple more clues here. There's a clue on this writing desk here, as you can see. More rain falling on it. Another clue here on inside the bookcase. And I think that's pretty much it for this. Oh, there's another clue right there. Over there. So there are a few clues in this library, and it reveals more of the story. Let me see if I can read some of these clues to you. Okay. So the clue on the bookshelf is an important one because it introduces the characters that inhabit or used to inhabit this monastery. Further reading shows that 4 others utilize this temple: a studious Altmer named Aldenon, whose letter we read on that other desk, the first desk that we came across, a Khajiit senior acolyte named Sadiq Ma, a Khajiit groundskeeper and former soldier named Dosha Lim, and a wood elf girl called Lilyfeather. So this is like the 3rd time we're hearing of Lilyfeather. Chujiro boasts of these young minds and hints at a deep familial connection with the war hero Dosha Lim, yet gets oddly flustered and somewhat emotional in his comments about the enchanting forest sprite who he has worked closely with him. For some reason, Chujiro mentions wanting to speak to his mother about Lilyfeather. So, there seems to be a romantic thing going on there, right? So, the various other clues within in this room drop further hints about where to find other clues and or how to get about. But I get ahead of myself, so let me just take you now up to the third floor and into the bedroom area. So this is where the monks or the I don't know what to call them. Were they monks? They were apprentices. This is where they slept. So again, you will see there's a clue. There's something on the bed over there, and I wonder what it is. I think it's part of the scavenger hunt, but use your imagination. So here's a clue, which I think is important. And the diary, there's a diary in here, and it says this. I can't believe Ro entrusted me with this key. He told me that I should talk to Dosha about what needs to be done while he is gone. I can't wait to meet his mother. And further on it says, I can't shake the feeling of being watched. It's been happening ever since that stranger came to see the artifact. It's like being back home in the forest, like something is hunting me. I think I'll keep my mother's spirit ward fetish with me just in case. And then it goes on to talk about a baker and his daughter and all that. So it seems like there's a baker's daughter who's missing. Okay. And then the players also find a doll inside the chest. And they may opt to take this doll, which is a spirit ward. The spirit ward being sort of like a talisman, I guess, that protects them from being attacked by the killer that's lurking about. Okay, so the clue on the wardrobe says, the lock on this wardrobe has been broken, but it is otherwise still in excellent condition. So here, of course, because there's no lock, they can choose to open the wardrobe. And what happens if they do? Opening the wardrobe, a corpse falls on top of you. Oh boy. A Khajiit male, his face frozen in a rictus of terror, stares with wild dead eyes, clutches a parchment in his hands. The interior of the wardrobe is covered in blood, and the Khajiit, who can be none other than Sadiq Ma, has been slashed at throat and wrists. Oh boy, it's gory. The parchment is hastily scribbled, but it seems to be some sort of protection scroll. Well, obviously that didn't protect him a lot, did it? Some sort of spirit ward, but it is lacking a final element. And you read it, and it appears to be a fish. So at this point, the player has a spirit ward, but he needs to do something with it to activate it. And if you remember, I showed you downstairs that fish head sticking out of the wall there. Well, the player was supposed to read the scroll while standing next or underneath the fish head, and that would have activated the spirit ward. But of course, nobody got that. So nobody got that spirit ward. Okay, so on the lower bunk, we find a letter, and the clue is the letter itself, and it says this. Dosha, I know you were sick and tired of us borrowing things from the maintenance cabinet, but really, what did you do to it? So it just goes on to complain about stuff and to talk about an object that he can see from the window underneath the leaves. So these are clues for people that to find, and hopefully someone found it. I don't think they did, but I think it was a very important clue. It was and I have to show it to you. Okay, I'll show it to you after this, but it was a clue to the box that was hidden under the leaves on the balcony. So the other clue here is the maintenance closet. So again, secret passage up to the fourth floor, maintenance closet. Those are important clues. So for now, let me take you down, back down to the balcony, because I forgot to show you the balcony. And it's all the way out here. So this is the exit. takes you to the balcony, and there's the box. So if somebody finds this box over here and opens it, the person will discover the aquamarine key. Remember the aquamarine key that I mentioned earlier on those two clues? That's the key that's going to open clue number 2, or the box, whatever it was, a jewelry box, I think, that was found down there by the statue. Okay? And then over here at the other end of the passage is another gory well, it's another clue, okay? Let me read this one to you. So there's the clue, and this is a bas-relief. Okay, so let me read the entirety of this clue to you, because it's kind of an important thing that leads to that sort of reveals the story behind the murders occurring here. This is a rectangular plate set into the wall, and not very well. It depicts an odd scene in stages from top down and left to right. There are several people cheering a noble figure who leads away other apparently women from this group, some of which are still cheering and others in chains, led by guards to a castle. The next panel has these women and the central noble figure at a feast. The guards surround the hall, and several of the women are enjoying the meal, but many appear frightened. The final panel shows the grim and gruesome scene of the chained women hanging inverted above a tub of some sort, while blood dribbles down from them to be collected in the tub. The noble figure is depicted nude, with an inscrutable smile stepping into the tub. So, for those of you who are familiar with Elizabeth Bathory and kind of what she did, then this will probably ring a bell. Honestly, I knew nothing about Elizabeth Bathory, so I had no idea what this all meant. So, okay, so at this point, the players can choose to inspect this further, and doing so will reveal a panel that is loose. And they can pull open this panel, and lo and behold, another grisly discovery. The relief pulls from the wall grudgingly with a grinding of stone. Falling at your feet is a bundle of cloth. Unwrapping this, the bundle contains the body of a young Khajiit girl wearing a bright green dress and the hair beads of a baker. So here, apparently, the little baker's daughter suffered a gruesome death. I am sad for her. So, now let's go back to the 3rd floor. So I think people, just by sheer luck, managed to find their way there by trying to walk into these carpets. So, actually, if you're in 3rd person here, you will clearly see, you can see that there's a room behind you. It's a little confusing because the hallway is so narrow, but I'll show you. If you walk to the right here, you'll see that there's no wall. It's just being covered by a carpet. And here's a skooma bubbler and a clue right beneath it. So the clue, this is the maintenance closet that's being referred to everywhere. And the clue here reads, maintenance cabinet. Beneath a well-used skooma pipe, a maintenance log is posted. Daily entries refer to the statue in the courtyard and tending the mistress. So again, more clues. The logbook has notes written into it by the caretaker, Dosha Lim. So something about hiding the skooma pipe, and then further on, Strange noises are coming from the basement. It is good this one knows the rose tricks, so I know how to find my way through this place. And then the last clue, kicking the bucket, just like Trisha, to do something like that to hide a secret. Better get going. I'll go see a shaman about this soon. He says Kuma caught up to me at last. So, kicking the bucket, the reference to the bucket, and you see a bucket right here, you know that it's the key to the secret entrance. So again, you try to make your way past here, but you really can't get past because there's a wall. But if you jump over the bucket, since you can't really kick it, you'll find the secret passage. And here's the ramp that leads up to the 4th floor. And now we come to almost the end of the story. So there's a shrine here with yet another clue, which I shall read to you now. A skull lies on the altar. You feel a sense of foreboding as you look upon it. So there's not much here, really. It's just, portrait of a Muragray is here next to a small book of prayers, etc. I don't think there's anything really important here. But I don't know if you noticed, but if you look around, there is yet another clue here on the stairs. And I think this one has the more important clue. Lying here on the ground are some severed fingers and a broken dagger. Oh, yikes. Words are scrawled in blood on the stairs. Now, if the player inspects the blood, then he will get this clue. It reads, "Under the lion's gaze, 3 ways. One must fall to rise again." So here is the important clue to the last piece of the puzzle, on how to advance from here, because obviously there's no way up. This is the top floor, and if you go down, you're just going back to where you started. So the only way out of here really is under the lion's gaze, and there are 3 ways. So you see 3 rugs here. You can choose to go to one of these. I won't show you where the other 2 go, but I know that the center one is the one that you must choose. And it drops you into the water. Okay, there was a bug there. That was not supposed to drop me to that ledge, but I think someone inadvertently removed a wall there, and so it dropped me to the ledge instead of to the water, but I was supposed to fall into the water. And then you swim up here to the steps and go up the steps, and voila, you're in the garden. So this is the back portion of the structure. There's a garden here and a statue of an imperial sitting there. Again, that was another clue to Polar Droog's character, because Polar is an imperial. But I don't think anyone ever got that subtle hint. It was too subtle. And then if you go further down here, you will get into, what do you think it is? Of course, it's the murder room. Okay, so if you come into the murder room, you'll see, again, more grisly sights. Red meat on a chopping block. It's all in ruins. But what happened here? There's a burnt figure clutching a note. And our last clue. This is what we call the dead-end room. So, and here is the description. This appears to be the commissariat where the acolytes would meet for meals, but the destruction and decay here are astounding. A blood-red light emanates from the corner of the horrific image there needs no description. A coppery scent laden with sulfur and char assails your nostrils. The source of this is, ta-da, a charred corpse. It lies on the floor here. Several of the poor soul's belongings are here as well. So it just describes, small stuffed cat plushie, blah, 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 blah. And then there's on the written page that's smudged with blood and caked with grime, it reads, must restore the ward by matching colors on all lamps. One color allows speaking to the dead others, but is dangerous. Another setting dispels the ward. Red is bad. A peaceful spirit's aid? Where can I find that? The writing is that of Lily Feather. An aquamarine key lies here. So again, aquamarine key, blue, it seems to be telling us something. So here is Elizabeth Bathory's tub. And there are 3 lamps that are all red. Now these, if you've ever played Elder Scrolls Online or are familiar with the Halalu salt lamp, you know that these lamps can be turned into 3 colors. If you click on them, wait, what happened? I think that turned it off. You click twice, it turns blue. You click a 3rd time, it turns yellow. And then you click a 4th time, it turns red. So the way, obviously, to solve this is to turn it all blue. I mean, those are the clues. Very obvious clues that have been given to you all throughout. The color blue is important. So, if the player, of course, the player would decide to turn it blue, right? But if for some reason they wanted to turn it green instead of blue, or yellow, I thought it was yellow, but anyway, if they turn it green, this is what's going to happen. You see the killer before you start to laugh as the green light engulfs you. A strangely feminine voice licks at your ears. Did you really think that any of them could help you? Those pitiful peasant girls? Mere pretty cattle to sate my desires. See, their blood still fills my bath, and now you shall join them. Speaking to the dead ones comes with a prize. Burn in corpse fire, you fool. So of course, that was the spirit of Elizabeth Bathory, who has of course possessed the player Polar Droog, and that's why he's killing everyone. And then the laugh becomes a cackle of glee as the first wave of heat and a cacophony of frightened voices assails your mind. The pain is too much for any one soul to bear. You have died. So that's how it ends for the player who decides to turn the lamps all green. So if he decides to turn it all blue, let's turn it all blue, okay? I don't know why I didn't turn it green before, but let's turn it blue. Is that blue? I think that's blue. And there's another one here. Blue. There you go. So now it's all blue. A feeling of calm descends upon the killer's face. A red swirl of bloody smoke draws out of their eyes. A Khajiit woman in spirit form appears in the air above the smoke and captures it in a spectral urn. She smiles knowingly at you and winks. Good to see you are safe. Come talk to me soon. There is still much to do here. Oh, and tell my son that he is in big trouble this time. Super big. And then she disappears, and that's the end of it. Player wins. So, folks, I hope you enjoyed the story as much as I did, and as much as everyone who participated in this event did. So, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the story. I think it was great. and I hope you do too.